Thanks very much, everyone, for having me. And yes, it's a real pleasure to talk about my experiences, but also your experiences as well. It's really great, and I think it's a vast subject, isn't it, that we are sort of going through here. And injuries can come from pretty much anything, really. Even if you feel in the finest shape ever, and you're doing everything you should be doing. I think I've written a few things that I've sort of come across in my career, and having sort of started off as a runner in my mid-30s, moving through from that, I took up barefoot running to see what all the fad was all about, and then spent 2 years doing that and ran 7 barefoot marathons across the south of England, and then managed to break sub 3 hours with flip-flops on, and then moving on to duathlons. And I think the reason why I'm telling you that is because it's just trying to learn, as a running coach. I think it's good to experience these things rather than having an opinion on it. And I certainly learn through experience or doing things. I think one of the biggest things that comes up before we go into being injured is stretching. There's a lot to be said about that. And I've, having been being an S&C coach and working with runners for years, I would say that doing a few minutes in here and there doesn't count. And one of the biggest things that I always encourage people to do is what I call net time stretching. So we all sit in a car, don't we? And we listen to a podcast. Of course we do, because it's driving boring at some places. That's why I listen to music. But one thing I would say that is stretching is boring unless you have an incredible mindset. So what I do is I find stretching positions that I'm able to hold or go in and out of whilst watching a Netflix movie, something on my phone, replying to an email, listening to my other half, talking to the children, whatever that may be. Because essentially, to develop flexibility, that either has to be done through static stretching, contracting, relaxing, or through movement. Of course, you can do it through movement. But if you think about it, I wouldn't know the stats, but I would say that not many runners go to the gym in relation to other sports, because technically running's free, isn't it? We get our DAPs, we chuck on some stuff, and we go out the door, and we want to find a free program on the web, and that's absolutely fabulous. But that's where the injuries come in. So net time stretching is one of them. And if you're going to do that stretching, I would encourage you to do that pretty much every single day, because consistency is king in all of this we do. That includes strength work. So doing strength work, I find with runners, can be a bit of a chore. But if it's a bit of a chore, what I would do is just do what can you do. And if it's 15 minutes twice a week because you've got kids, family. I mean, I train people in triathlon and running. And when you've got to consider the swim, the ride, the run, the transition, the nutrition, sports psychologist, 4 children, work, I mean, give ourselves a break here. So personally, I would just get your calendar out, look at it and go, if it's not in the calendar, it doesn't get done. End of story. Unless it's you put something on the fridge or something to remind you of doing it. So I would definitely be putting something like 15 minutes stretching every single day, tick off, done. And I definitely I can commit to 30 minutes twice a week to do my strength work. And I definitely agree with Dan, just that we're not talking about injury stuff too much, but that isometric work, concentric work, loading through range of motion is massive. So split squats. In running, it's a unilateral, bilateral transfer sport. You go from one side to the other. And if one side's stronger than the other, you've got a problem. Okay. And it's not hard to go and ask the local running coach or the S&C coach and to them give you little tips on what you can do to make sure you can do 30 calf. I'm not saying do this, by the way, but you can do 30 calf raises on the left, and you can do 30 on the right. If the left is stronger than the right, we work on the weaker side first. We match it with the other side, and then we bring them together. It's not uncommon in running when people are doing leg extensions or hamstring curls, where actually one quad's stronger than the other. We all have that pretty much anyway, but it's this disparity between the left and the right. And the left and the right hand, the opposites are stronger. So it's a real good thing to do. So net time stretching should be done, continuity, 2 strength sessions a week, loading through range of motion. Consistency is king. And one of the hugest things that crops up and I think is a huge factor in runners getting injury is running the easy runs too fast. Categorically happens all the time. Every single runner that I ever see thinks that they have to keep a certain pace because it's Strava, or they just run faster. It's stupid, basically, if you're doing that, because essentially you want to save yourself with the creme de la creme, that 1 day a week or that 2 sessions a week. For me, in the sport I do, my Tuesdays, for me, I protect everything around my Tuesday, because essentially that Tuesday is going to help me get quicker. And if I run everything easy around it, I'm getting that sort of 80-20 effect, okay, with my training. So run your easy runs easy. Now, just to give you an example, I'm not the fastest runner in the world. So, 5K pace, maybe 3:30s per K. But the easy runs, I was doing one on Monday, it was 6:15 per K. And the whole run was 6:15, away with the fairies, listen to some music, whatever. Because I know that if I do it too fast, it's going to affect Tuesday. That's a problem, okay? And then at least you can keep that Tuesday to the point where you can actually compare it to something, can't you?